Hi there, Dr. Durland here, and I just wanted to, and all of us here at Simple wanted to kind of go over some things and continue to reinforce these things that can help people. We know this is a really hard time, and what we love to do is help people feel better. So I wanted to review what we actually do, how we do it, how it relates to you, and how it relates to these times. And we'll continue to review this and other topics that come up in conversations with patients, so that hopefully if we help you and you know this could help someone else, then you can pass this on. So I would say a lot of times, one of the biggest things that we've heard for the last couple of days, and I feel this myself too, is that we feel this emotion of feeling overwhelmed. Whatever some people can call anxiety, or other people may call depression. And it's happening to many of us, and why the heck does that happen, and what the heck does that mean? So I'm going to review all these topics and kind of things that you can do to help promote your wellness, reduce fear as it relates to the Simple 7 concept, and also kind of relay what the Simple 7 concept is, because what we're going through now is an application of it, but the core principle of it has been going on in our whole lives up to date. So the first thing I love to point out for people is whenever you talk to someone, someone's really looking at what is it in for me. That's our human nature, and that happens to all of us. And so I know that people want to know something for themselves, but yet when you're talking to other people, when you're engaging to other people, know that we all have individual ways that we're learning. And so while one person may learn audibly, another person may learn more visually, another person may write more, really be mindful of how that other person also learns, because a lot of times we get frustrated because the other person doesn't learn our same way, but we really all want the same thing. We want love and connection. And know that that is the driver of all of us as humans. So let's kind of get to that Simple 7. Okay, so as I look at this is you. It's the little person you always are. And I always split us all apart, who we are spiritually from our biological body, because it helps me really look at myself a little bit more unemotionally. And when I attach a lot of emotion, it takes a lot of energy. And so I'm just practice doing it this way for a second. So that's you, the little smiley face. And this is your body. And your body has been evolving for thousands of years. You know, you may have lived in your body for X amount of years, but it's been evolving for a super long time. And it's evolved longer in a cave than it has in 2020. So you have to keep that in mind. Your body's reference point is not today. It's actually much more primitive. And our body's slow but intentional to change. So your body in the cave wants 7 things, I call it, to kind of help your body have a better day. It wants good elimination. It wants you to be able to urinate. It wants you to be able to pee and poop, and it wants you to be able to sweat. It wants equilibrium. It wants a balance of energy between you and the world around you. Your balance of energy, or your equilibrium, comes from how much energy do you give the world, how much energy does the world give you, and how much energy does your body biologically give you. It's also based off your eating, like what type of food are you eating? Is there food? It also looks at esteem. Esteem is how you feel about yourself. It looks at elements, like the different vitamins and supplements and minerals that you're putting in your body. It needs those as building blocks to work. It also looks at your energy, if you will, or I call that movement, like are you moving? And it looks at engagement, or your community, because we all need to feel like we belong somewhere. And so primarily I'm always talking about the cave, if you will. So those are the 7 things that our body needs. And so if your body has those things, then and it feels balanced pretty much of all of them, which doesn't mean they all have to be equal. It just means that pretty much it's feeling some sort of balance. Then you feel inside your body. When you feel inside your body, you feel happy because you have more energy. When you have more energy, you have more free will of where you put that energy, which gives you this feeling of like control. And so, but if you're deficient on energy, you don't feel in control, and that makes us feel scared. So that is where I put us over here with our sad face, because if we start feeling over here, we start to feel very kind of isolated. Our brain thinks more towards the negative. We feel very alone, and we get scared. So this feels good. These are the things you can do to feel better. But if I get disconnected, I'm over here. So what these things are these are points of reference of things that you could do, that you could pull yourself back in the middle to help you feel better, okay? Because in general, if you talk to this person and they feel over here, then what happens is that what you say will be much more towards the negative. You'll be more fearful and feel alone. Every single human being that feels here acts that same way. But when that happens, you can feel alone, like you're the only one, and we get so scared, we get scared to talk about it. To me, this is a state of depression, right? But depression doesn't mean there's anything that you carry with you for the rest of your life necessarily in this model. It's more that you are reacting to a state, okay? A state of your body's energy being off and you feel disconnected. So then this is what I would call anxiety, and that is just where your body ups your energy to make you run really fast and get away from things. And when that happens, if I ask me in this state to solve a math problem or learn something new, or you ask my ideas about things, what I say in this state and what I say in this state are going to be very different than when I'm sitting here in the middle. When I'm in the middle, I have a smile on my face, I feel connected to myself, and you're going to ask me a question and I can think much more intuitively about what it's like to be you, and I can sit there in that place with you and we can problem solve easier. I have more ingenuity, I have more free will and free thought. So really, I just want to be here. But yet it's so common that I can go to these places, and when I feel over here, I don't like it, so I want to be here. So again, you think of this point of reference. So what's happening to us now? What's happening to us now is we're all having this kind of social isolationism, which actually feels weird because it's affecting our engagement or our community. And we all have these natural energies of connection. And so if I'm fearful of that very connection with another being, it almost feels super unnatural. So we're doing it for a greater good, but that alone could make our body feel a little bit more disconnected from itself. Okay, and so because again, we're all searching for connection, and isolation is kind of opposite of the communal nature of human beings. And so what could we do about that? Number one, we just want to understand it. We want to understand it because if anxiety, this feeling is scary, and if I don't understand it, then I can start getting stuck. I get stuck and I start circling, and I'm like, why is this happening to me? Why is this happening to me? Or literally, as I talk about that, what I'm doing is I'm responding to a body that's moving really fast, that's uncomfortable, and I just want to figure out what to do with it. So all I have to do is realize, oh, I am responding to a state of my body. All that's happening is my body's feeling imbalanced, and its reaction is get me to run away. So what are some tools that I could do to bring it in? Well, number one, like we talked about, understanding, but let's go back to the circle. Okay, so back in the circle, I look at things, and I always start looking at this as what's the easiest thing to do. So one of the easiest things to do if I feel like this is move, all right? So if my body evolved in a primal environment, which it did, don't make movement hard. Now they're closing gyms, because we don't want to be all touching each other at this point in time. I understand that, but it doesn't mean that you can't put your shoes on and you can't go out for a super long, amazing walk. You could go out, and the other really amazing thing about going on a walk is there's sunshine, and sunshine is energy too. So getting that sun in and movement does two things. Number one, it gives you some elements, which is vitamin D, and number two, it helps you move. So movement, when I think about the body, is like if our body's a car, it's like opening up the tailpipe. It gets goo out of you, and it just makes you feel better. And I love efficiency and multitasking, because then you get more energy in quicker, which makes me feel, boom, more connected, right? So being out in the sun and taking a walk did that. And you know what that was? It was smoking easy. And as you do more of that, you realize, don't make life so hard. It's actually super simple. Somewhere along the line, society said that we have to do 5,000 things to be healthy and blah, 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 blah. And you know what? It's not that hard. Don't make it that hard, because the fact that we're making that hard takes away the simplicity to which we evolved, all right? So that is one of the things you could do. Okay, so the other thing you could do is you could sweat a little bit, right? That's something that you could do when you walked, or you could sit in a sauna if you happen to have a sauna, because that pulls toxins out of your body. And when you pull goo out of your body, it functions more easily. All right. And let's see, what else could we do? Oh, let's talk about the elements a little bit. So other way in the elements are ways that you could help your body's defenses so you don't get sick as much. And so again, that is through vitamins, supplements, and minerals. So one of the things you could do is you could take some vitamin D. Well, what is vitamin D? The sunshine. All right, so really vitamin D is outside. The sun is a big ball of fire, and it's actually out there to try and help us have a good day. People make a lot of discussions about sunscreen and skin cancer. Right now, I'm just looking to the sun for energy, so I'm just making it real basic. And if you throw some vitamin K in there too, that works really good. So know that vitamin D is a fat-soluble vitamin. meaning you could take it once a week or once a day, and that's a little different than some of the water-soluble vitamins. But that is under elements, vitamin D. So again, you can get vitamin D from the sun, you can get vitamin D orally, you can take it daily or weekly because it's a fat-soluble vitamin. And if you added K to it, woo, what a great day, because K just makes the D more effective. All right, then you could also do some vitamin C. Okay, vitamin C is an antioxidant, and vitamin C, you know, people will get from citrus, from orange juice, etc. Emergency. It is water soluble, so you'll have to take it every day. All right, but that sometimes has been proposed to maybe help people with infection. I'm not saying that any of this prevents any sort of anyone getting infected. It's just something that you could do to help your body feel better. Okay, there's also some stuff that people will call monolaurin. It's another supplement that some of the supplement companies made that are philosophically maybe helped to prevent some viruses. I'm not saying it's ever been studied against coronavirus. I'm just saying it's been effective for some viruses, and it may be something that some people could do. There's other stuff called Wholemune, and that is from like orthomolecular, and that helps with GI health and just kind of our tissues have more resilience, if you will. So that's another idea. And then you can also take some zinc. So those are ways that you can help bolster your body's immune reactions, and it's part of the elements. So then what you can find is that sometimes, I want to come up here to this equilibrium thing too, all right? So equilibrium is your balance of energy. It's how much energy you give the world, how much energy does the world give you, and how much energy your body biologically give you. Because your body's built to defend things off for you. And if it doesn't have energy, sometimes we get sick easy. I think we know those people that might get sick all the time. But when you talk to them, do they ever seem like super, like they have a lot of energy to give? And I would say probably not. So if they don't, the same thing that makes them not have a lot of energy to give also contributes to their body's difficulty with healing a lot of times. And so it's important that you think about your body's energy. And so what you do to the world, what the world gives you. So think about balance of energy in an emotion, all right? So I'm gonna come over here. So emotions that take your energy are guilt, shame, fear, misunderstanding, all right? Emotions that give you energy are love, joy, understanding, smile, thankfulness, and kindness. So when I have these emotions, I go up. When I have these emotions, I go down. So what happens when my body gets stuck here and here is I tend to feel more of these emotions. And if I can feel these emotions, I'm pulled more towards the center because these give me energy to pull me in the middle. These pull me out. So think about right now, we don't know a lot about the virus in specific. We've taken away our part of our engagement. There's all this fear how long this is going to last and the financial implications. So you can see how it's pulling us out to extremes, and it's going to drive more of these emotions. Well, know that you're normal for feeling that way. You're normal because you're a human being. And so some other things that you can do about it, like I said, you could put your shoes on, you could go for a walk. Don't make eating so hard. Like if for a little while you can't eat organic, blah, blah, blah. It's just a miracle to get meat even. So just do the best you can. The other thing I was going to say too, over here was symptoms of the stress response. And the stress response is when you're here or when you're here. That would be your sleep gets off, you feel more what we call anxiety and depression, and your body compensates for feeling that way by trying to get energy in or soothe itself. So people's appetite may go up. They smoke a little bit more. They might have a tendency to drink a little bit more. And some people just become what I call hyper movers. They just try to move all the time because they're trying to get away from that feeling because they're more stuck in this state, and their body wants them to move to get away from it because that's its response because it evolved in the cave, and it just wants you to keep moving, but you feel like you're trapped in this body that can't sit still. So then I started trying to think about the virus and this whole situation about what could be good from it, like what great can come of it. Well, maybe we're having to kind of jump off this hamster wheel that we've made of life. And so many times what happens is, and I put this up here, is I think a lot of times society, we've driven ourselves in the society to feel like we have to do 5,000 things all the time, and we have to overachieve, and we're not supposed to sleep, and we're supposed to have these like big houses, and we're supposed to drive these cars, and that's what makes success. But really look around you right now. What makes success is my family okay? What a success is, can I provide for them? So it reminds us of the basics that really are speaking more from our heart and not from our mind. And so maybe it's an opportunity to kind of revalue ourselves and revalue what we look at. And so that was something positive that this is, it makes you kind of think about, and how many things we should really be thankful for, and that already brings my energy up, which makes me feel more connected with myself. The other thing that I started to be more thankful for and think about is, how can I be more efficient in my daily life? How much waste do I generate? And I realized that I'm like, wow, do I really need to use as much toilet paper as I use? I could use a little less, right? So maybe and I could do that today, I can do that every day. The other thing too is, I had to grate my own cheese, and it was kind of fun. And then when you think about other things, what can you get by with and still feel like your needs are met? It just really makes you thankful for realizing those things. And so that slowdown has helped me be a little bit more thankful for what's really important in my heart, and not so much what society may hold me up to. And so maybe that we, as a society, we should look more towards what we're prioritizing. The other thing too is, okay, there was something else oh yeah, okay, so the other thing that you can do is, I love trying to have high yield energy in. And so that just means my body's just a big math problem. I totally, again, disassociate myself, and I put myself on the side, and I set myself like out to the side, and my body's just an energy unit. So I just want to put energy in. And when I put energy in, I get more free will of where I drive. My anxiety gets less, my depression feelings go away, I just feel better. And so what are some quick ways of things that I can do when we're in these limited resources and I'm alone, that I can kind of reset my brain? All right, one of the ideas of it you can do, of course, we'll talk about meditation. But the other thing is, like, look at the music that you listen to, because music can have different frequencies, and different frequencies can talk to your brain different. And if people say, I don't know if that works, I'm like, okay, well, just try it. And if you try it, you didn't spend any money. You just listen to some music on Apple iTunes and see what happens to your brain when you do it. Does it make you feel more peaceful? Does it make you be able to concentrate more? Does it make you just be able to take a deep breath? And if it did, it spoke to you. So don't hyperthink it, just accept it. And if it worked, could you imagine if you did that one simple thing a couple times a day, how much energy you could get in your body? It's so smoking easy. Just like taking a walk outside with your dog. You didn't have to go to the gym for an hour. You didn't have to have fancy clothes. You just put your shoes on and you went for a walk. And the other thing you can do is, one of the therapists that I get to work with sometimes, she's super amazing, kind of taught me about this brain spotting phenomenon. I thought that was really interesting, because when I put those little earphones on my ears, what I notice is my brain tends to think really fast. It just does, and it keeps moving forward. And so I have to use a lot of energy myself to kind of pull it down to be quiet, but that's energy I'm using. And I could always use that energy in engaging with people, or, engaging with my family, or like being mindful. So I want that efficiency back. I always want that efficiency back. And so what this brain spotting thing did when I put the earphones on is it went back and forth and back and forth and back and forth, and it distracted my brain, that it made it feel kind of still. So when I feel this way, my brain's going really fast, and it's hard for me to bring it down. So when I put those little earphones, brain spotting on, what it did is I knew I was trapped in a body that felt this way. So what I did is I was like, oh, I didn't know this feeling. So I put my little earphones on, and I go to my little Apple Music, and I put brain spotting music, and I put it in my ears. And what it does is it goes back and forth, almost like those hearing tests that you have when you're in grade school. And so when I did that, I was like, my brain got so distracted that I was sitting in it in this state, knowing like, it's just going so fast. And then that made it slow down. It made my brain, I could feel it, stop being so spinny forward, and it slowed it down. It's like, what's on the left? What's on the right? What's on the left? What's on the right? And as it did it, I felt more peaceful inside my body, and I was able to engage and think and be more calm. So isn't it just so fun that that was just something that I could consciously do inside a body that felt this way, that didn't cost me any money, that brought me peace? And so I think that works actually for a lot of people, and it made super sense to me. So in this time that people are searching for means to maybe reduce that sensation of anxiety, or kind of deal with this, understand that you're normal for feeling the way you do. You feel the way you do because there's things going on in our community that we don't understand, and our balance of energy can get really off. We worry about food. And so much about how we feel of ourselves might not be as important in this realm so much, because those are just higher levels of thought sometimes. So I'm really thinking that our core worries are really being stimulated with food, our balance of energy, in our community. And when those happen, it really kind of brings us down to these basic functions. So when I think more when our basic functions evolutionarily are compromised, it's going to stimulate us to go more in these states. And as we get into those states, if you can understand why you feel that way, first of all, it doesn't make, hopefully it helps reduce a little bit of fear that makes you not, that and brings more understanding. And with more understanding, you can get some tools to help reset yourself, so that your sleep, the feeling of anxiety, depression, and your compensatory mechanisms are a little bit more in control, and you're brought a little bit more in the center. So anyway, those are just what I wanted to talk about today, about some basic themes about what we talk to people about. And while this is an application of it talking about the virus now, we'll continue to talk about other things that you can do, and how other topics go into this. And I'm not going to erase this, I'll just keep adding on. But just remember, at the end of the day, what does every human being want? Every human being wants the same thing. We all want connection to ourselves, and we all ultimately want love. No matter what someone says, that's what we all want. So anyway, tune in as we continue with these series.